Hi everyone from Zoom. Good morning. Have you completed those tasks? See, the reason why I gave you those tasks is in the interview you'll get those tasks. Okay, they'll just ask you. You have 40. You have to. You have fund transfer script for that. You need to achieve 2000 TPH with 45 users. 2000 TPH with 45 users. What is your basic? Then what you need to do? Divide your number of transactions by, I mean, with users, number of users. Yeah. After that, correct. You will get iterations based on that. You will calculate based. So that you need to practice so that at the time of interview it will become easy for you. Quick calculate చేసి ఇవ్వడానికి ఈజీగా ఉంటుంది. Okay. Because this is a definite interview question. If you answer this very quickly, like quick by doing a quick calculation interview, that guy will impress. So every time when he asks about pacing calculation, consider this second sheet only. Okay. Quickly they'll give you two things. They'll give you users and transactions. And quickly do this number of iterations. Okay. Like quickly do this number of iterations first by TPH by 2. And after that calculate pacing 3600 by 50. That's it. Two calculations you need to do. This and this, and after that this and this. Okay. Okay, these are the graphs. Okay. See, if you see, these are the Jmeter load testing graphs in Jmeter. So when you are doing load test, you will do the load test for only 1 hour, right? But see, the duration starts with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, ends at 0, 1, 1, 0. Like it took 1 hour, 10 minutes. The reason behind that is for pacing, it took some, for ramp up, it took some time. See how the users are ramping up here. How much time it took for ramp up? Around 10 minutes, right? So that is why it is taking 1 hour, 10 minutes, right? See, what is the ramp up? In performance testing, what is ramp up? In this case, how many users we are running with? The same scenarios, same OLX scenarios you can see here. Admin seller request, admin product request, okay, seller add product, all that, right? So how many users you have for this buyer buy product? 420 users, right? So what is this red one? 420 buy product, this one. Okay, that is why you are seeing how many users here? 420. Remaining users are less only. So these are the scripts. This is your buy product script, and these are your other scripts. And how the load test starts? Slowly users will ramp up. You need to run this particular buy product script with 420 users. You cannot log in with all 420 users within 1 second. If you do that, what will happen? Your application will crash. If you do load test by logging in with all 420 or 500 users at the same time, your application will crash. In real time also that won't happen, right? That is why we give ramp up. There is something called ramp up in performance testing, in load testing. So ramp up is nothing but you will slowly increase the users until it reaches 420. Okay, that is what you are doing. Slowly you are increasing the users until it reaches 420. That means you are increasing, like one user should log in within 3 seconds. Something like that you will give in Jmeter settings. I'll tell you when I go there. But you will give that settings. One user for every 3 seconds or one user for every 5 seconds. So that one user will log in and it will wait for 5 seconds. After that only second user will log in. After that third user will log in. Like that, it will wait for 5 seconds and slowly users will ramp up until 420. So this ramp up is very important. If you don't give this ramp up, And if you run your tests without ramp up, what will happen? All 420 or 500 users will log in at a time and your application will crash. You will get errors in your test. This ramp up is very important. And also after ramp up, what is this called? This is called steady state. This is your actual test duration. You will give 1 hour for your load test, right? That 1 hour duration is this steady state duration. So during this steady state, all your transactions will happen for 1 hour, and after that, what will happen? Slowly, all the users will ramp down. Okay, so this is ramp up, and this is steady state, and this is ramp down. So before test starts, users should ramp up, and it should run in steady state for 1 hour, and after test completion, all the users should ramp down. Same thing for all the scripts you can see here, right? And that is why you will see more test duration here, but the actual test duration is 1 hour.
Sir, Srinivas here.
Yes, Srinivas.
Yeah, now it is past 10 minutes, right? If it is past the time, we can think that is a bug, or it should happen in real time. It should happen within 1 hour.
No, I didn't get you.
Now, based on the graph, ramp up and transactions are going on smoothly. After that, it's going ramp down. So the total time took is 1 hour 10 minutes.
Correct.
Right. But in our real time, if we exceeded more than 1 hour, can we consider that is a bug?
No, there is no bug. It will take this much time only because you it will run according to your settings only, right? You gave settings as 1 hour and you gave ramp up as 1 user for every 3 seconds. Okay, based on that settings only it will run. So the test will be completed within 1 hour 10 minutes only. It won't exceed.
Okay. So in our settings only we are given time as 1 hour 10 minutes.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I will show you that in real time once we install the tool. Okay, it will take some time, but I'll show you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is your load test. And what is this? What is this test? This is your stress test because you are running with more users, right? You're running your byproduct with how many users? 2400 users. So this is stress test. And you see here test duration. Why it is more? Because you have users increased, so ramp up time will also increase because every user is taking 3 seconds to ramp up, right? And you have 2400 users, so it will take some time for ramp up. So ramp up, how much time it is taking here? 20 minutes. Previously it took, and ramp down will also take some time. Okay, 20 there, 10 minutes for ramp down, total 30 minutes. So so steady state will be 1 hour, so total time will be 1 hour 30 minutes. It will be like that. Okay, and this is spike testing. See how we are running spike testing. We are doing a test with 250 users, and suddenly after some time, suddenly we gave a big spike, and after some time again we gave a big spike. That means spike is nothing but we increase the number of users. That's it. Byproduct users we increased from 250 to 800 suddenly. We gave a big spike and we are checking how the application is behaving. Test, right? We are running this with 300 users, but how long we are running this? How many hours? 8 hours, right? So this is how your graph should look like for all this. Okay, fine. So let us start with the tool now. So you know what is think time and what is pacing calculation, all that you got clarity now, right? So the first thing for this Jmeter tool installation is JDK. Need to install JDK. Okay, let us install it first, and then we'll install the tool. Let's check first of all if we have JDK installed in here or not. Okay, no, Java is not there, so let us install JDK now. So what is recommended here is to install the version of JDK should be 8 or more than that, but not the previous version, right? It should be minimum 8. And recommended is to install 8 version. JDK 8 version is required. Or you can install any version after JDK 8. That is also fine. So this Jmeter is based on Java. Okay, developed through Java using Java coding and all. So for that you need JDK. Without JDK, we cannot run thing in Jmeter. So this is your first prerequisite to install JDK. Okay, let us install it first. You can install from or direct Oracle website. Okay, that is one thing. And also you have other websites where you can install. If you are downloading, if you want to download it from our official Oracle website, you need to register, right? You need to register there and download. But you can find out other sites where you don't need registration. You can directly download. Let us find some more sites where we can directly download it. Okay. But this is one site. Okay. Java, I'm selecting version 8 and mine is Windows. And is it a 64-bit or 32-bit? How do you check? Properties. And here you can check 64-bit, right? So I need 64-bit version now. Okay. So I am selecting 64-bit and I am selecting here JDK. So here I got these things. So from here, I think you can download anything here from here. So I am downloading the first one. Let's see if I can download this. No, not this one. JDK 8 forward. Okay, take this site. I'm pinging you in the Zoom. From here, download it. Okay. Don't consider this one because here we are getting a dump file. We don't need a dump file. So don't consider this site. Take this site. From this site, you can install directly. You are getting .exe file here so that you can install. So techspot.com. From here, you can download Java 8. Okay. So I have installed, I have downloaded it. Now I'm going to install it. The normal installation, just next code is ending, it will install. Fine. We have completed our JDK installation. Now go to program files and you can see Java here, right? Fine. So you have two things, JDK and JRE here. So the first step is completed. And the second step, copy the path. What path? JDK path, right? Go to JDK and go to bin folder and copy this path. You just need to copy this path. And what is your next step? Open environment variables and set up Java home. Okay. So you need to go to environment variables. So in Windows, you just need to click on Windows and you just need to give environment and you will get this automatically. Click there and select this button. So this is environment variables, right? And you need to set the Java path. Okay. First of all, you need to set up Java home. See this particular screenshot. You have something called Java underscore home and C program files Java JDK, right? So the same thing you need to set here. Here, do you have Java home here? No, you will not have Java home here because you just install Java, right? So what you need to do here, new and give everything in capital, Java underscore home, and give the path here without bin. Okay, until this portion. So you have set this path. C program files Java JDK. C program files Java JDK. Version can be anything, as I said. Anything more than 8 or equal to 8. So this is 1.8, which is fine. Okay. So Java home setup is completed. What is my next step? Setup path. Where are you setting up the path? So here for the path setup, what you need to do, you need to give until bin. Okay. So where you need to set up path here. The Java home you are setting up in system variables. Path you are setting up here in the user variables. There are two things, system variables and user variables. In system variables, you are setting up Java home, and in the user variables, you are setting up path. You have already some path. Select that and edit and new. That's it. Okay. You gave the path. Set up path here also. Okay. Then path setup is completed. So you have set up Java underscore home, and you have set up this path, and you have set up this path also. Okay. Everything is done. For Java home, you are giving the path until JDK. For path, you are giving until JDK bin. Okay. Fine. So environment variable setup is completed, right? Now you can install your Jmeter. So you have to do this setup before Jmeter download, before you download Jmeter, before you install Jmeter. Okay. So what you need to do before installing Jmeter, you need to download JDK and set up environment variables. That is completed. Now I am going to install Jmeter. Open this particular path, which takes you to this page. See, I'm going to install the latest Apache Jmeter 5.5, and it requires Java 8 plus 8 or more. That is why we have installed Java first. Okay, fine. So let us install it. Let us download it now. So I'm downloading this one, Apache Jmeter 5.5.zip. Done. So it is in under my downloads. I am extracting it. I'm unzipping it. Okay. So I went inside, and inside you have bin folder. Go to bin folder, and here you have something called Jmeter Windows batch file. Okay, Windows batch file. So you need to double click here. So this is launching your Jmeter. Your Jmeter launched successfully. So if you try to launch your Jmeter without installing Java or without setting up environment variables properly, so what will happen? You'll get some errors while launching this Jmeter batch file. Okay, this is called Jmeter batch file, right? Because this is Windows batch file. So you have launched your Jmeter successfully. So this is how your Jmeter will look like, and you can change your look and feel also. So it is dark version now. You can change this look and feel, make it brighter. To make it brighter, what I selected options, look and feel, and here I selected metal, right? If you do any changes here, you need to restart, right? So I'm restarting my Jmeter. So it restarted. So this is my Jmeter. I just changed look and feel. So that is how you need to install your Jmeter. So you have all the steps here, okay? So this is shortly about Jmeter. It is an open source tool, as I said. It is free of cost. So you can do performance testing for any application with any number of users, okay? But whereas with other tools like LoadRunner, NeoLoad, you can do only scripting. You cannot do performance testing. You cannot do load test, endurance test, and all that with more number of users, because it is a license. Those are licensed versions, okay? LoadRunner will give you only 50 free users, not more than that. So with only 50 users, we can run load test in LoadRunner. But if you need to run load test for 3,000 users, 4,000 users for free of cost, you can use Jmeter, right? It supports HTTP and HTTPS applications, web applications, and web services also. API calls. As I told you about this API concept, right? API calls, backend calls. So those performance testings also, it is very easy to perform this web services testing in Jmeter when compared to other tools like LoadRunner. Though LoadRunner is licensed version, still performing a load test for web services is much more easier in Jmeter. For that matter, even for web applications also, Jmeter is easier, much easier when compared with LoadRunner. LoadRunner, you have a lot of functions. You have to give pacing in LoadRunner. In Jmeter, you don't need to give pacing. You have something called timers. You can just do that. Like that, we have a lot of advantages in Jmeter. What is the next advantage? It provides option to record our performance test transaction. Like if you need to do performance testing for fund transfer application, bill payment application, and all that, you need to record your script. For that, you have a recording option here, right? In Jmeter, you have recording option. Using that recording option, you can record your application. You can record your application. Support Bean Shell, Groovy, and Java custom coding. Sometimes in your application, while you are doing scripting, you might need to do little coding. So for that, you have Bean Shell and Groovy scripts. It supports Bean Shell scripting, so that you can write coding little easier without any much coding knowledge. Also, you can write the required coding easily, because Bean Shell supports Bean Shell law. They have developed Jmeter in such a way that in Bean Shell backend law they have implemented some classes and methods, context classes, and all that. There are few classes. I'll cover that when I go to the topic. So they will write they wrote their own coding. So you don't need to write anything. You just need to write those functions so that you can do whatever you want Jmeter. So you don't need to do much coding in Jmeter because it has bean shell, Groovy, and all that in backend. Like we can integrate several plugins for advanced operation. So, for example, if you want to do server monitoring, like while you are doing load test, one of your NFR is what server's CPU should be, CPU and memory should be 75%, right? How do you know that? You need to monitor that, then only you'll know that, right? So you can integrate Jmeter with your application servers and monitor those. You have such kind of plugins also in Jmeter. I will cover that that as a separate topic later. Not only that, you have several plugins, and one more plugin you have is see, like load runner and neoload. Load runner has a controller, right? You can do live performance tests in load runner because it's a licensed tool. It has controller where it's an execution tool where you can do your executions with any number of users and you can see what is going on while you are doing execution. But in Jmeter, you cannot see. See, you have this UI while you are running your load test, you can see. But if you are doing testing with 3,000, 4,000 users, your laptop will hang if you run using this tool. So you have to do your tests from backend, like in command prompt. You have to close this tool and you need to call this Jmeter from command prompt and you have to do your load tests, endurance tests and all that. While doing that, you cannot see anything. You don't know if your test is passing or failing also. But in load runner and neoload, you will know because it has controller. There you can see. But Jmeter, since it's an open source tool, they'll not give you all these options, right? Free tool. Okay. So for that, to overcome that problem, you have another integration with Grafana and InfluxDB. Using that Grafana and InfluxDB, you can do live performance tests. That means in Jmeter also, by integrating Grafana and InfluxDB, you can view your load test. While the load test is going on, you can view those in graphical format, how the test is running. If there are any errors, you can stop immediately. All that also. Not only that, there are several other integrations, which I will tell you in my future classes. So this is one more advantage where you have many integrations and several plugins you can integrate to Jmeter. When I talk about this plugins integration, option. Where is plugin manager? Compare. Okay, anyway, no problem. I'll come to the topic later. Okay, this is one more advantage. And finally, easy continuous integration with Jenkins. You heard about Jenkins tool? Have you? So Jenkins tool is used for continuous. It's a CI/CD tool. What is CI/CD? Continuous integration and continuous deployment and continuous delivery. Using Jenkins advantage is nothing but you can code deployments will happen automatically if you integrate your coding to your Jenkins tool. Okay, you don't need to manually deploy your coding in your application. So like that, if you can also integrate your test suite, like whatever scripts you wrote in Jmeter, you can also integrate your Jmeter to Jenkins. So what will happen once a new release comes, they will trigger a Jenkins build. After triggering Jenkins build, what will happen? Your code will get deployed to your performance test NFT environment. And after that, what will happen? You don't need to manually start your load test in Jmeter because you integrated Jmeter to Jenkins. So after deployment, immediately your load test will also start automatically. So those things also you can do using Jmeter. These are the advantages of Jmeter. There are several other advantages, but these are the main advantages. Okay. So let us understand the first Jmeter script. So you have these things in Jmeter. Test plan. Okay. Test plan is nothing but it's a test where under this test plan only you will have all your scripts like fund transfer, bill payment, account creation. If you are doing this for a banking applications, like for example, say if you are doing performance testing for ICICI Bank, okay, rename your test plan with ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank is your test plan. Under that, you will have all your scripts. Okay. The test plan is a test suite or a test scenario where we execute our test. So this test under test plan only you have everything. So test plan is like a parent. What is thread group? It is similar to a test case. That means your test script is your thread group. So for example, as I said, for ICICI Bank application, if you are doing performance testing, you have fund transfer, bill payments, all that, right? So your first thread group can be fund transfer script, right? Okay. So you can also add several thread groups under a test plan. Your second thread group can be bill payment thread group. Okay. Your third thread group can be account creation thread. So whatever scenarios you have for a banking application, you can add as a thread group, right?
Sir, for every module, we have to create a separate thread group.
Correct. Yes.
Like fund transfer, bill payment.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. For login page, so like that we have to create.
Correct.
Okay.
The login page covers everything, right? Under fund transfer, you have a login, right?
Yes, yes.
If you are doing separate, if you are creating login as a separate script, then you can add one thread group for login also. These are nothing but scripts, your scenarios, what you are testing. Fund transfer, bill payment, account creation. Like as I mentioned for this OLX application, you have scenarios there, right? These things. So what scenario you have here? Seller request approval, 2 users, that is one thread group. Product request approval, 2 users, that is one thread group. Add product, 45 users, one thread group. Delete product, 5 users, another thread group. Like that you have how many thread groups? 7 thread groups. So you need to add 7 thread groups for this, right? Same way, like that I'm saying. And again, for each and every thread group, like for each and every script, you have what you will have inside this script? Transactions, right? So that is why you have.
Sir, Srinivas here. Just like other automation tools, in performance testing also, we will have any framework.
Performance testing.
In performance testing, we will have any frameworks.
Frameworks. Yes, we have frameworks, but it is again, I mean, see, you need to sit with your automation testers, right? You need to sit with your automation testers and you can write frameworks, right? See, Jenkins integration. How do you do Jenkins integration? As I said, performance with load runner can be integrated with Jenkins. For that, you need to write a framework.
Okay.
So that it will after the build deployment, your test should trigger automatically. How does your test will trigger automatically? It should be in that pipeline, right?
Yes.
Correct. For that
Yes.
pipeline integration, you need to write a framework in the backend. Then only it will trigger. So for that framework, again, you need to sit with your developer or DevOps. DevOps people will be there in your teams, right?
Okay.
You need to sit with them and you need to take their help for integration of for the framework development for this Jenkins integration. Like that, you have frameworks. You can do frameworking as well for Jmeter. Okay.
So in real time, we will do we will do framework, sir, in performance testing in real time also. In performance testing.
In real time, not much actually. As I said, for only Jenkins integration, there are some frameworks. Even that also we will not do. Okay.
Okay.
Under Jenkins, we have some settings which is
Okay.
related to Jmeter. For that we need some plugins. That plugin integrations and all we will do. But backend framework for actual Jenkins integration, you need to take help from your DevOps team. Okay.
Okay.
But out of your interest, you can also do frameworks and all.
Okay. Because the interview, if they ask anything, have you done any framework, means we have to know, right? Or we have done yes.
No, I don't think for 3+ years experience, they'll not ask about frameworking of Jmeter frameworks and all. They'll not ask that many questions.
Okay.
It's too deep, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so these are your thread groups. Thread groups are nothing but your scripts. So under thread group, what you will have? Transactions. You can add transactions also. So you have something called logic controllers. Under that, you have your transactions. So basically, you can add your transaction controllers. So what is your first transaction controller? Launch, right? Copy this, and how many transactions you will have under fund transfer? Like 7 or 8, right? Launch is your first transaction. Login is your next transaction. Okay. Fund transfer menu is your third transaction. And from account to account, click next. Okay. And make sure while you're giving this, you don't add any space. Okay. Just give underscore in place of space. And after that, submit. And after that, accept OTP. Okay. All these are your transactions. So in the same way, for bill payment and account creations also, you have transactions, right? And what you have inside the transactions? You just added transactions. If you run this, nothing will work because you don't have your actual script. That means you don't have your actual request, right? While you are doing your, for example, you are doing your performance testing for an application like this, for performance testing practice.com, right? You are logging in, you launched it. Okay, you're logging in, this page is loading. That means what is happening when that page is loading? You are sending a request to the server and you are getting a response. What response are you getting? This login page. And again, I'm giving my user ID and password, and you clicked on login, and again this page is loading. That means you sent a request to the server and you received the response. What is your response? This page. So all that should be there inside these transactions. Until now, you just added what you need, but now you need to add the actual core thing. What is that actual core thing? Your requests and responses, right? Your requests you need to add. You cannot add your responses. Response is what you get from the server, right? You can only add your request. So in Jmeter, we call that as samplers, right? What is the thing? What is you added for transaction controller? Transaction controller. Now you are adding sampler. Where you need to add your sampler? Under the transactions, right? Under transaction controllers, right? Sampler, you have many samplers, but since you are doing web application testing, you need to add HTTP. So this is your actual core part. This is your request. So you are sending a request to the server. So I'm just removing all this, okay? What request are you sending? Is it a HTTP or application or a HTTPS application? This is your launch screen. You should get this launch screen. Okay, let us script for a launch screen. This is my, okay, let us do one thing. Let us take this URL just for starting. Okay. So I want to see this particular URL, right? This URL should come. Okay. So what kind of application is this? This is a HTTP application. So what protocol you need to give here? HTTP. Okay. And what is this? Your server. That means you need to give host name here. What is the host name of your application? This is your host name until .com. Until .com will be your host name. You don't need to include this HTTP. I'm removing this. So I just gave my host name. That's it. Okay. And what is the next step? What else you need to give? Is online, right? So that you need to give under path, right? Got it? I gave it. Okay. So is it a get request or a post request? And what is the difference? Correct. We are getting data from the server, right? So it is a get request. But what is a post request? Here also we are sending some data, right? We are clicking on URL. Correct. Yes. We are entering login name and password. That is a post request. We are submitting. We are doing fund transfer. We are giving from account to account. We are giving some amount and clicking on submit. That is also a post request. But in this case, we are just hitting a URL and we are getting that URL as a response, some screen. So that is a get request, right? So you have selected only get, but you have post request also. Okay, and other requests you can ignore those for now. So get. That's it. You added everything now. Okay, what is your next step? Your next step is to run it, right? I don't want to save it. So you ran it, but you're not able to see the results, right? Where do you see the results? For results also in Jmeter, you have something called listeners. So I have added something called view results tree. I have added something called view results tree. Okay, now I will run. See, the page launched. I got all greens. Let us go and check the response. If I select this, I don't know if it is really working or not. I'm seeing this never SSL helping you get online, and this is what the screen we are seeing here, right? Never SSL. Okay, but you should see this HTML page there, right? View is like text. Okay, because you have selected text view. By default, the view is text here. So select HTML view here. See your page. So this is how you need to run. This is what you will do in Jmeter. So this will be your first script. Go home and practice this, and I will give you another URL. Practice that also. HTTPS. Okay, this is the URL. This time it is HTTPS URL. Okay. This is what you should see. This is the page you should see in the results. Okay. So practice this. So this is your first script. So we have used different elements here. What are those different elements? Test plan. This is thread group. This is transaction controller. This is HTTP sampler. HTTP request is called sampler in Jmeter, and this is listener. So these are the different elements in Jmeter. This is what I'm going to cover in next many classes. Like different types of listeners will be there. Different types of HTTP requests will be there. Different types of controllers will be there. Different types of thread groups will also be there. Okay. And that's it. So, and other things also, we have other things as well, like assertions and all that. The use of those assertions, initial, I mean, regular expressions and all that, post processor, pre processor, those are also elements. So what is the use of those elements and all? Going forward, I'll tell you. But this is your basic script. To start with your first script, this is what you need to practice. Okay. Just note down this URL and go home and install the tool. First download JDK, set up environment variables, install your Jmeter tool and practice the first script. Take any URL, not only this URL, take any URL, practice that launch page. If it is working or not, tell me. Okay. That's it. Any questions? Or we'll meet tomorrow. Right. Okay, then let's close it for today. We'll meet tomorrow.